This in my hand is the brand new Huawei Nova 5T. This offers some incredible specs at a mid-range price point, but is it worth its asking price? Well, in this video, I'm going to be unboxing this, giving you my first hands-on look impressions review of this device. We'll be testing out, amongst other things, the camera. So let's get going. So in the box are included some goodies. Huawei have included obviously the warranty information, some documentation, but it's also nice to see them include a see-through plastic clear case. In the box you're also going to get a fast charger, which is powered by USB-C, and therefore you're going to get a sync charge cable that's USB-C. As well as that, you're also going to get USB-C powered headphones. That's right, there is no 3.5mm headphone jack on the Nova 5T. Now once we pull the plastic aside, you'll see around the device that you've got a USB-C with the speaker down at the bottom. On the top you've got a dual SIM tray. As well as that, at the top you've got an ambient light sensor and a microphone input, and then on the side you've got a power button that has incorporated fingerprint scanner with the volume rocker. So here it is in the hand, the Huawei Nova 5T. Now if you're looking at this thinking, I've seen this before, you're not wrong in assuming that. This is actually very similar in styling and design to the Honor 20, but there are some major differences both externally and internally as well. Now in the hand, it actually feels really comfortable. It looks premium. The back panel still has this kind of light effect that we've come to expect from Huawei. It feels incredibly light in the hand. And the other thing that you're going to notice on the front is that beautiful display. Now it's an IPS panel display with a punch hole for the camera. That's a 32 megapixel front facing camera. We'll talk about the cameras in a moment, but for the most part I think the look and feel of this is incredible. One of the things that I do like, which I mentioned earlier on, was now that power button incorporated with a fingerprint scanner just looks and feels much more natural. Instead of having a fingerprint scanner on the back, this just seems like the natural place to have it. Coming back to displays, it has a 6.2-inch display, which I mentioned, which is a full HD plus resolution, and that equates to a good 412 ppi. Now for the most part, the display is actually really good. It's got a punchiness to it, it's got a vividness to it, which you can actually tame down as well in the settings. So if the blue light gets too much, or you want to make it easier on your eyes, all of that can be directly done through the settings. That punch hole design, some people actually hate that. So if you want, Huawei have included within the settings the option to actually avoid the notch completely. That notch is really tiny given how big the screen is generally. So I think for me, I'll probably leave that on. Yeah, I mean, it's not that bad. That hole punch will show up every now and again, particularly when you're watching YouTube videos or Netflix movies, and there are certain games that hole punch will actually cover up as well, so do be a little careful of that. But for majority of the games, things like Temple Run and the light sort of games, you should have no problem because you end up with a bezel that appears at the top, which isn't bad. Whoops. Speakers on this are actually quite good, quite loud, quite clear, but they do fire out from the bottom, so it means that you have to be careful not to cover them. So powering the 5T is the 980 octa-core CPU. You've got a Mali G76 MP10 GPU, and this particular model comes with 8GB of RAM with 128GB of storage. Now those specs are actually good enough to power things like PUBG Mobile in its highest settings, so you should have no problem with fluidity there. I've been testing this out with some other games and it seems to perform pretty well with that. Battery wise, 3750 milliamp hour battery, which I think should perform pretty well for most day-to-day tasks. It would have been nice just to see it bumped up to 4000 milliamp hours, because I think for most people that would be more than adequate, and then they'd be able to get through the day without worrying. It does come with that fast charger, which is an added bonus. This is actually powered by Android 9, and it comes with EMUI 9.1 as well. A lot of you are going to be asking about the Google products, whether or not they come pre-installed. You'll be happy to know that they actually do. So if that's a factor for you, if that's important for you, then you don't have to worry about this. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about are the cameras, because this comes with a whopping quad camera setup. So essentially 4 cameras. Now, what you're looking at is a 16 megapixel ultra wide, a 48 megapixel Sony IMX586 main camera, and a 2 megapixel depth assist. Now, essentially Huawei have seemed to let go of the telephoto camera, and they've chosen in favor of a 2 megapixel macro, which is placed on the outside of the camera module. Now, if you want to zoom, you can essentially use the main camera to get up to 10x digital zoom. Let's take a couple of shots and test out how the camera performs. Just really quickly, all the 4 cameras are actually AI powered. So if you're not familiar with this, you can toggle a button at the top over here, and it will actually suss out the views with the AI. It will give you some information as to what you are filming, and it should enhance those images if you press or toggle on that option. Now, as far as ultra wide is concerned, that is there. You've also got the 1x, as I mentioned, the 2x, and it will go all the way up to 10x. 10x certainly looks very choppy. We'll test that out in a moment and see just what the images and video appear like. But for now, yeah, let's test this out. So let's start off with ultra wide. Check this image out. I think Huawei have done an incredible job when it comes to the colors and also keeping it close to natural. In the past, I've commented about Huawei images being oversaturated, over vibrant, but I don't know what's changed. It seems to be doing a much better job. 1x zoom and 2x zoom show a lot of detail, but we start to see the camera struggle when we zoom in. This is at max 10x zoom, and you'll notice just the amount of really noise and distortion taking place here. Now, when it comes to portrait, both of human and non-human subjects, it does a pretty good job. There's nice details there and a slight bokeh effect. Macro was interesting because, again, the details, it did a good job there. The front-facing camera I felt was a little disappointing. You can notice the back being quite washed out. A couple of images that I took seemed to have this issue. But the night mode at 1x was really, really good. You have to keep it held, the shutter button, for a while, but it will give you some good shots. The ultra wide in the night mode is okay. There's a lot of noise when you look at the image up close. And video was also quite choppy, particularly when you're moving around. You'll notice the distortion. But check this video out in normal lighting. So this is what video looks like at full 1080p resolution on the Nova 5T. What is really cool is you can switch between the different angles, the camera lenses. This is wide, this is 1x, and then this is at 2x. Yeah, really dirty windows because we've had a lot of dust here in Abu Dhabi. I'm gonna test this out in low light as well to see how the video performs. But in the comment section down below, let me know what you think so far. Nice? Good? Pretty impressive. I mean, think about it. The specs that you're getting, build quality, styling, that quad AI camera, fingerprint scanner, pretty much all display for the asking price. And what is the asking price? Well, it's going to be 1,600 dirhams in this part of the world, which equates to about $30 in the US and about 380 pounds in the UK. It's not a bad price, and it would be very hard not to recommend this smartphone if that's your budget kind of cut off and these are the specs that you're looking for. Huawei I've been reviewing for a while now, have consistently delivered with great specs at really good pricing. So this is no different from that. Now, if you want to pick this up, the pre-orders have already started in this part of the world. It should be available at the end of the month on the 31st of October. If I had to really pick faults, find faults with this smartphone, I would struggle. The only thing that I can think of is that front display. It would be nice to see an OLED display, but I know asking for an OLED display would be pushing the price point even further, and then that puts it out of reach for a lot of people looking at that mid-range price point. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think, both of the specs, but also what you think of the Nova 5T. And if you aren't already, follow me over on Insta, because I might, after the 31st of October, have a little surprise for you. You get what I mean. Slide into my DMs, leave a comment on one of my recent pictures. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe here and let me know in the comment section down below what you think. That's it from me for now, here with the Nova 5T. I'm M Kwan. Peace and blessings.